I drove 14 hours straight from Denver, expecting nothing more than the quiet of my grandfather's old place. The smell of pine, the sound of loons on the water, maybe a few days to finally grieve properly. Instead, when I pulled up to the 900-acre lake ranch Rusty Morrison had bought back in 1952 with his GI Bill money, the first thing that hit me was diesel exhaust mixing with fresh-cut cedar. Then I saw them, multiple gaudy mansions squatting where there used to be natural shoreline and wild grass, Italian stone patios where the beach had been, and one enormous house right in the middle of what should have been my family's private land. Before I could even get out of the truck, she walked out. Vivian Ashworth, perfect athleisure, manicured nails, the kind of smile that says she's already won. She stepped forward like she owned the place, which, apparently in her mind, she did. "Actually, sweetie," she said, "this is my property now. Adverse possession. Look it up." "Wrong move, Vivian. I'm Dex Morrison, former Marine, detailed records, zero tolerance for thieves. I had the original 1952 deed in my glove box." She had expensive lawyers, a husband who was the county planning commissioner, and what she thought was an airtight claim. She was wrong on every count. Grandpa Rusty was a Korean War vet who believed in keeping things wild, free, and in the family. 3 miles of pristine shoreline, an 1890s cabin, timber rights, the whole package. I spent summers here as a kid, fishing with him, listening to his stories. When he passed last year, I was overseas and missed the funeral. It took 8 months to finally make the drive. That's when I found Vivian's little empire. She'd moved here from California 5 years earlier with plans to improve our backward mountain community. Together with her husband Fletcher, they'd been buying lakefront parcels and flipping them to wealthy transplants at triple the price. Her white Tesla crunched over what used to be beach. Her mansion's fresh cedar smell mixed with the diesel from construction equipment still parked nearby. She gestured at Grandpa's cabin like it was a condemned shack. "This land's been abandoned for years," she told me. "We have legal claim now." I didn't react right away. Military training, recon first, react second. But her story already had holes. Someone had been paying the property taxes. I'd seen the receipts. Her Copper Lake Estates HOA had only been incorporated after people started building, meaning they were claiming authority over land they never owned. Then she slid a stack of papers across her Tesla's hood. "Sign this quitclaim deed for 50 grand and walk away, or face very connected people." The document was fiction. Claimed Grandpa had agreed to sell lakefront for community development, and I was just there to finalize it. I looked at her mansion. Surveyor stakes poked through her landscaping. She'd built 200 feet onto Morrison property. She'd literally stolen land to put up her dream house. I told her I'd need time to review. Her Botox face tried for a smile. "Sweetie, this isn't negotiable. Sign. Take the money. Go home. Don't make this difficult." What she didn't know was that I'd already found something in Grandpa's old steamer trunk. 70 years of property records, original surveys, correspondence from someone who'd mysteriously been paying our taxes for the past 3 years, and it definitely wasn't her. Plus a 1963 mineral rights lease that was about to expire, worth way more than 50 grand once renewed. One question I asked her, "Who lives in all these other houses?" "Successful people," she said. "Doctors, lawyers, tech executives. They appreciate quality development. And they all agreed to join the HOA. Too quick. Too defensive. Even though half their lot sat on my property." Her makeup couldn't hide the flash of panic. "That's a surveying error we're correcting." Right then I knew 2 things. She'd sold people land she didn't own, and she was in deeper than one illegal mansion. As I drove away, I saw construction equipment near the shoreline and dark water staining the lake near her property. Her septic system was draining straight into Copper Lake, the same pristine water Grandpa had protected for 70 years. The next morning a notice was taped to my cabin door. 3 cease and desist letters from Montana's most expensive law firm, demanding I stop trespassing, stop harassing residents, pay HOA fees, or face litigation. By noon she filed an adverse possession claim in county court. 47 pages of surveys, permits, bylaws that looked official enough to fool most people. I knew better. Grandpa kept records like he expected this fight. The 1952 survey was crystal clear. My line extended 200 feet beyond her mansion. Montana adverse possession requires 5 years of open, notorious, hostile, continuous occupation without permission. She'd been there 3. Grandpa never abandoned anything. Her claim was paper thin. Then the sheriff's deputy showed up with Fletcher himself. Complaints about disturbing the peace, harassment, threats. I almost laughed. Fletcher shifted uncomfortably. Maybe you should consider her offer. 50,000 is fair. Fair for my own land? After they left, I went into town and met Jake Tompkins, a local contractor nursing coffee at the diner. He knew exactly who I was. Word travels fast. You're fighting Vivian Ashworth. That makes you brave or stupid. He'd done electrical work on her mansion. She owed him 30 grand and stiffed him with excuses. He showed me photos, overloaded circuits, improper grounding, junction boxes that would make a fire marshal weep. She'd stiffed a dozen contractors the same way. Her husband ran the building department. They were golf buddies. Then Jake dropped the rail bomb. During foundation work he'd found her, fancy. Septic system was fake. PVC pipes ran straight from bathrooms into the lake. Raw sewage for 2 years. He had photos, water samples, bacteria levels insane. Environmental contamination. Federal jurisdiction. My blood went cold. That night someone cut my power lines at 2:47 a.m., took out the cell repeater, tried to destroy evidence at the shoreline. Trail cameras caught everything, Vivian directing it, Fletcher there too, even the sheriff's nephew. Criminal conspiracy in infrared. The next morning EPA agents arrived. Anonymous tips had them monitoring the watershed for 6 months. My complaint triggered the formal investigation. They found not just sewage, but industrial cleaning agents dumped to mask it. Deliberate poisoning. Felony charges. Vivian came screaming up in her Tesla, wild-eyed. What is this? Harassment. The agents calmly told her they had a warrant, were on Morrison property, and her husband was next on the interview list for signing permits on systems that were never built. 3 days later, digging through Grandpa's papers, I found a 1963 Christmas card with a mineral rights lease tucked inside. Montana Aggregate Company had paid $2,000 a year since then for gravel extraction. The lease expired next month, unless I renewed it. Current rates, $50,000 minimum per year. The richest deposit sat directly under her mansion. Fletcher owned 30% of a subsidiary of that company. The whole thing crystallized. Steal the surface land through legal manipulation, then renew the mineral lease to themselves at basement prices. Millions in gravel value. Generational wealth. I assembled a war council. Hank the retired attorney, Jake, a local historian, Sheriff Tommy Clearwater, also a Marine vet, Sarah Blackhorse from the tribal council. We planned a perfect storm. Lease pendants to freeze her assets. Professional survey stakes marking the true boundaries. EPA building their case. Water testing. Community pressure through a heritage festival on my property. Thursday night someone threw a Molotov cocktail through my window. It fizzled out in the sink. Cameras caught Vivian and Fletcher again. Attempted arson. Friday she held a press conference, called me an outside agitator, claimed the lake was nothing. Before she arrived, admitted to short-term sacrifices. for progress. The reporter asked about EPA findings. Bacteria 800% above limits. Fish populations collapsed. Vivian went full villain. Sometimes progress requires sacrifices. The video went viral. Saturday morning she showed up with a demolition crew to tear down Grandpa's safety hazard cabin. Wrong permit, wrong building. Festival setup continued. Food trucks, tribal drummers, historical displays. Federal agents collected more evidence in real time. Around noon, Fletcher tried to shut it down with an eviction notice. Tommy stepped in. Sarah played the federal injunction trump card. Any interference with tribal treaty rights was contempt of court. Then Vivian's crew accidentally ruptured her septic line. Raw sewage flooded her lawn and the lake. Hazmat tape went up. She stood ankle-deep in it, screaming sabotage. At 4 p.m., she commandeered the PA system. "You're all trespassing. This illegal gathering ends now." I stepped forward with a 1952 deed. "Actually, Vivian, they're on Morrison property. Same as your mansion." She shrieked that the deed was worthless, that she'd brought civilization to a wasteland. Agent Martinez stepped up. "Mrs. Ashworth, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, Clean Water Act violations, federal treaty rights breaches." Handcuffs clicked. Fletcher went next. Even cuffed, she kept talking. Racist meltdown, classist insults, threats of appeals. All recorded, all going viral. 6 months later the federal case wrapped. Vivian took a plea, 18 months in prison, $2.8 million restitution for cleanup, paid from seized assets, 5 years probation. Fletcher got 12 months and permanent disqualification from office. Her mansion was demolished, structural violations everywhere. The Copper Lake Conservation Trust, funded by renewed mineral leases, now protects the entire property forever. We partnered with the university for research, combined traditional indigenous knowledge with modern science, started scholarships for local kids in environmental fields or trades. The annual Heritage Day draws thousands. Local businesses thrive on sustainable tourism. New laws require verified consent for HOA membership and ban retroactive fees. The lake is recovering, fish back, water clear again. Every morning I sit on the deck with coffee, watch the sunrise paint the water gold, read Grandpa's letters, and listen to the loons. He always said, "Keep it wild, keep it free, keep it in the family." Now family means everyone who loves this place enough to protect it. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destruction. It's building something so permanent and beautiful that your enemy's greed becomes the foundation for lasting good.